The following program is a Town of Colonie television production of the William K. Sanford Town Library.
Welcome to Albany County News. I'm Mary Rozak, the Director of Communications for Albany County. And in the next 30 minutes, we are going to talk about something that we all do. We all get older. And as we grow older, we want to do something probably called age in place, and that's stay in our homes and find out about all kinds of services that are available to us as senior citizens. And joining me today is our brand new Albany County Commissioner for Aging, Deborah Tano. Welcome.
Thank you.
Last time you were here in a different capacity.
Yes, I was.
You were actually with your previous employer and working with the county on a volunteer basis, heading up one of our committees.
Yes, and I want to continue that.
and we love the fact that you've joined the county.
Well, I am very grateful to our county executive and everyone, and I love it. It's a great office. It's a great place, and of course, my background was in aging, and now I'm aging.
And we're all aging. It beats the alternative, right? When people say, "How do you feel?"
Right.
I say I have aches and pains, but it beats the alternative.
It beats the alternative.
And we've had a working relationship now for many years. Of course, County Executive McCoy has had a working relationship with you as well. Let's talk about how you got here, because you do have a strong background in aging. With the NORC and talk about
prior to that, it's a checkered background.
Checkered in the best way.
In the best way. I had been the Director of Human Services for the town of Rotterdam, which really catapulted me into senior work. Prior to that, I'd been with Catholic Charities and working with children. And once I did that in Rotterdam, it made me the head of the senior center.
Okay.
And so that's really what got me started in aging. And then from there, it was a few things, and one of them was the NORC project, and I was there from the inception of the NORC when that got started in 2006. And for people who don't know what a NORC is, it's NNORC, which was the Neighborhood Naturally Occurring Retirement Community, which meant that it was the money that came for that was from a state grant, although some NORCs are federally funded. And it's a catchment area of Albany, which included Whitehall Road over to North Scotland Avenue, where the density of seniors was more than 40%.
Okay.
And that was based on the 2000 census at that time. And the program was led by Jewish Family Services, and often is throughout the country. Jewish Family Services have developed NORCs. And that was where we got started. I was there for 9 years doing the NORC, loved it, and then became the executive director of the Capital Area Council of Churches, where we began to do business together, and led me here. So
everything that you've done really has been about seniors and about lifestyle and programs.
Yes.
Let's talk about, when you first started, even in Rotterdam, what do you think that you see is probably one of the biggest changes and or challenges for when you first encountered senior issues, senior programs, senior needs to now?
I think we talk about this all the time, because things have changed so much. I mean, even in the 5-year span that I was with the Capital Area Council of Churches, and we were doing senior things off and on, but not as much. But it was pastors who were really on the front lines, because there are seniors who attend church, synagogue. Of course, the mosques are growing by leaps and bounds, and so we really wanted to be able to respond to the needs on a lot of different levels. The difference that I see when I look back to the Rotterdam days as to now is transportation is still an issue. I think it may always become an issue.
Sure.
The other thing is that senior centers need a new look. It isn't the old look of what the senior center was years ago when I was in Rotterdam, because boomers, which I am, have an idea of what a senior center is, and they want something different. They want a senior center that's got a cafe, that's got hot yoga, that they can do some modern, because boomers are really kind of sandwiched in taking care of their own parents and taking care of children or grandchildren. And so they want something a little bit different. And Mather's Cafe in Chicago is probably a good example of that. And one of the things that we're doing in Albany County that's really, I think, exciting. I think this is one of the most exciting things that we're doing. And we love taking care of those who need services, who need ISIP services, or HICAP, which is the insurance, or social adult daycare. But one of the most exciting things that we're doing is this new program, which is a restaurant program. And I think when I left the office, we were still going to call it Go and Dine, and that is that...
Well, you know what? When this airs, we're going to be doing something about this, so I don't want to have us let the cat out of the bag.
All right.
We are going to be doing something, though, with
okay.
We're going to let it out
Lip-lock.
in the future. All right.
Done.
But Mather's Cafe? People may not be familiar with that when you're talking about Chicago.
Well, it's a cafe it's a senior center that does all those new age kinds of things, yoga and all sorts of new age things that just escape me. And it has a cafe, and so there's a place to go for coffee, and it's a place to have current discussion, and so many other things that boomers are really ready to do.
We have in Albany County, we have over 55,000 plus seniors that are, I think, 60 years of age or older. And that population is growing. How do you, as you're saying, things are changing, how do you approach that? How do you come into the Albany County Department for Aging and say, okay, well, I've got a background in this. I've been working in this with churches, but now, we've got a larger senior population. They want things different. They want things that, they don't even like to use the term senior.
That's right. And change is slow. Change is slow. It doesn't, it's not going to happen as quickly. One of the things that we did yesterday, we met with an Albany senior who is 85, who performs drama and does adaptations of things. He recently did an adaptation of James Joyce's book, The Dead.
Okay.
And we went to see it. It was wonderfully done. And we talked to him about being able to offer cultural things as well as all the other services that we do for those in need, but be able to respond to those seniors who really want cultural experiences as well. And how we might go about building some kind of a program that would be quote-unquote elder hostel kinds of things, which would speak. It doesn't just speak to the boomer generation, but he performed for me for my seniors in the NORC. When I started out, probably the average age was about 80 in the NORC area. I mean, those people are all 92, 93 now, and we've lost some. And he's still performing. He just did Charles Dickens' play, A Christmas Carol, and has done that around town. He's done many wonderful things, and we'd like to be able to offer that and other kinds of cultural things as well for our seniors.
Well, I know that my mother, who's been living with us, I know she would not want me to disclose her age, but I'll say I'm in my early 50s. So we are challenged sometimes, unless I am going to be able to bring her somewhere. Right now, she does not have a car at the moment. Unless I'm going to bring her somewhere, particularly at night, or some of those other things that you mentioned, some of those cultural things, it's very difficult for her to be able to do something out on her own. How do you deal with something along those lines? Because there have got to be many more people like my mother that are in that situation.
You know, we're back to the transportation issue.
Yeah.
And the thing that is interesting and continues to be challenging is that when you're lining up rides for seniors, you know, health comes first.
Sure.
So, you know, it's doctor's appointments, and we have great partnerships around town with Senior Services of Albany, Colonie, Senior Services Guilderland, all the areas. We have great relationships with them. But when it comes to, I need to go get my hair done, I want to go to the movies, you know, things that you need to make you feel better. I mean,
Sure.
you know, well, all right, do you think that's a luxury ride? No, I don't. I think you need to get to the beauty parlor because it does make you feel better. And, you know, and that stems depression and isolationism.
Sure.
And, you know, things that we worry about, you know, with seniors. One of the best transportation programs on the outside that is not connected to really what we do really happens to be the transportation program in the Newark that is done through Jewish Family Services with Jewish Federation, and then that's called Project 5.
Okay, and tell me what that is.
And that's a project for seniors of the Jewish faith. The temples support it. That could be easily replicated with volunteer drivers. They do get reimbursed for their gasoline, and a senior calls, makes an appointment that they need a ride. You know, they go through an intake process there. And of course, I haven't been there a long time. I'm assuming it's remained the same, but it's very, very popular. And they're able to get those rides outside of the bounds of something that has to do with a medical appointment. And they're able to go to the movies, or they're able to get their hair done, or go shopping to the mall, or any of that. Those things are all very important.
And I know, and I should say, as you've already said, I should underscore that, our local senior services programs in the towns are
fabulous.
They are fabulous.
Yep.
I know that that my mom, Guilderland Senior Services,
Fabulous.
They come, they pick her up, they have lunch once a week at the senior center, and she just loves that. They do offer transportation in addition to going to the doctors and things. You know, one day a week it's to go get groceries for those who need to, you know, go food shopping. Another day it is to go to the mall. You know, it's great to get picked up and go, but when you have 2 hours and you got to get everything done and come back, like you said, going to a movie is not an option, or doing something like that.
No, it's not an option.
But it is good, because that's,
Yes.
you know, it does get people out. And I know Colonie is wonderful and does similar things too.
Well, you know, even the last night I had great fun and great pleasure in partaking in the senior meal at the Jewish Community Center.
Okay.
And although, you know, it was reconnecting with a lot of seniors that I knew for many, many, many years for a lot of different reasons. And I am a senior, so I got to have the dinner, which was delicious. It was great. It was great fun. It's a wonderful camaraderie among the seniors there, and an opportunity for people to visit and be out. You know, you don't have to be out forever. You're out for, you know, an hour, hour and a half.
Sure.
Enjoying a good meal, enjoying some conversation, and going home. And it was terrific. That is one of our providers of meals, of congregate sites.
You know, I know JCC does lunch 5 days a week, I believe, is from looking at the schedule. The dinners, is it once a month, once a week?
No, the dinners are twice a week. They're on Monday and Wednesday.
Okay.
And the food was, the food was excellent. I plan on visiting all of our sites and taking part, so I can see exactly what's going on and be part of it. I mean, I want to be part of it. I'm eligible to be part of it. So it's being the commissioner and being able to really be in there on this level, being part of it is really terrific.
I think that's, and I want to say this personally, I think that's what's so important and so special about you being the commissioner, because you do get out there, you are hands-on, you're in the weeds, you're there with people, visiting and socializing and finding out and really talking to them. I mean, but that's, no matter where you've been, that's who you are.
That's kind of what I've always enjoyed doing. You know, there was a lovely lady last night, and, you know, I've probably heard the same story a number of times in a number of places. She said to me, I wonder if you could help me. I'm 86. I want to go back to work. Well, it's a bit of a stretch. I want to go back to work.
Sure.
And, you know, we have a regional employment program for seniors.
Yep.
But her husband had died. And she wanted to get back in, and, you know, her voice was very fragile and very shaky, and there, you know, and I don't really want to say loneliness, because I think that she was very realistic about what her situation is, but she wanted to get out and be with people, and she found that work would be the way to really be able to do that.
Okay, the camaraderie.
Absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely. And, you know, it was overwhelming to hear her. It really was overwhelming, and
tell me, what did you say to her?
What I said to her was, I said to her, "Here's my card. Call me up. Here's a cell phone," and I said, "And we're going to do this together." And this morning I was in the office and I said, "Look, you know, we have to now figure this out, and we're going to do this together, because I've heard this story, and I had it in the Nork, where someone had lost her husband tragically in an accident, and I had left Nork brochures in the church. She picked it up and she called. She didn't live in the Nork, but she called and said, "I see you do things, and I'm wondering if I could be part of that." And then as the story went on, you know, you know, somebody calls you for one thing. That's what happens in aging. Right. They call you for one thing, but then really what they really want comes out. And that's what she was looking for. She didn't want to be isolated. She didn't drive. She didn't want to stay in the house. She was at her wit's end. She was lonely, that she had lost her husband. She really wanted to become part of life again. And that was the story of this lady last night.
I'm talking with Deborah Tano, the new commissioner of the Department for Aging in Albany County. You know, it's interesting, because I hear you say this, and I relate so much more. My mother, as I said, has been living with us for a little over a year now, since a car accident. And so subsequently, while she has a license, it doesn't really make sense to get a new car yet. And at this point, she says the same thing. She said, "I just want to be able to be out there," because she is from a different state, not with her friends, has made great friends now in both Colonie, because Colonie is a wonderful congregate meal site at Beltrone.
Yes.
That she does go to once a week, and then in Guilderland. But it is that sense that you want to be with your peers. So as much as I can take her somewhere, we have, you know, we're mother-daughter and have a great relationship. It's different than when you want to just kind of chat with people that are, you know, living the same things and have the same experiences in life.
Well, my own mother is 91. Not in bad health, you know. Recently had to put her dog down.
Okay.
It was so traumatic. I'm not an animal lover. I'm afraid of them. But it was so traumatic, because she really felt as if she had lost her best friend.
Sure.
You know, and so we quickly got together, and it was decided a new dog would arrive, and so a puppy has now arrived in the house.
Wow.
But it changed her whole outlook. It just changed her whole everything about her, that now that she had another dog in the house, and a very sweet dog, I might add.
Okay. You're not afraid of the dog?
Not afraid. Not yet.
Not yet. What kind of dog?
Jack Russell.
Okay, so it won't get terribly big.
No, but they always look to me like they fly instead of
Well, because they almost do, right?
Yeah, really. But it's that, and my mother is very different. I mean, she is not one who would take part in a congregate site.
And I got to tell you, my mother, before she came here and before she didn't have a car and didn't have, she would not either.
No.
Very different though now. Her perspective on when the bus comes to pick her up, and she gets on there and she rides with certain women because they have different buses for different routes. Rides with certain women, and she, gets there. When I get home on Tuesday nights, I hear all about it. And it come from, she was never one that would go and play bingo or do anything like that. She talks about how many bingos she's won and what they all talk about. And people are at very different socialization levels.
And by the way, bingo is very good for seniors. It's, it's cognitively, it's very good. It's eye-hand coordination. People always kind of make that as a joke about seniors, but that's because they don't know the benefit of them being able to, to play that game.
Well, the funny thing is, she'll say they called this number and so is looking in the wrong row.
Right.
And I forget, the bingo corresponds with certain numbers, right? So
that's right.
But you're right, it is so very important.
It's so, I mean, you meet one senior, you haven't met them all. You've met one senior. And for my mother, who she gets 4 newspapers. My sister and my brother bring her in right away in the morning. 4 different newspapers that she reads.
Does she go through the crossword puzzle? My mother, the crossword puzzles.
No, she doesn't do that. But she reads the news constantly. She does have a hearing deficit, but she's engaged that way, so she knows what's going on in the world, and she enjoys that part of it.
Now, more and more seniors, as you've talked about, it's boomers. Technology. Now, some are very challenged, but some are so savvy. They probably could tell me a few things about how to use my cell phone.
Some are very good. When you try to do a program, I did a program one time for seniors on technology. It was 2-part. One had to do with the computer, and although some seniors would say, I'm afraid to use the computer, when you said to them, look, we're going to teach you Skype. You can Skype with your grandchildren. This is a way to see your grandchildren. Or we're going to show you how you buy your airline tickets, so you can go see your grandchildren. Then it had a different spin, and we did it at the Girls Academy, who had then, at the time, the library was really quite new, and there were a lot of computers there, and the students helped out and partnered up with a senior and taught them how to use it. That was great. We did a program with the College of St. Rose on cell phones. And the head of the program then, communications, was Fred Antico, and he came over and he taught seniors how to text.
Okay.
There were individual phones, but he taught them how to text, and that was marvelous. And so there's so much that, the very thing we're not going to talk about is really technology as at the root of it. And boomers are plugged in,
right?
And they're plugged into Facebook, and they're plugged into Twitter, although I am not. But they're plugged into those kinds of platforms now. So
well, it's interesting because I know that when you're talking about your mom and the newspapers, I said every morning with the 2 newspapers right off the bat, reading the newspapers, grabbing for the crossword puzzle. We go to the library all the time, and so we have just broken a new barrier for me, and she will be ready. I am very much a hardcover person. I need the book. But my brother has convinced us that she would like to use a Kindle and all of the benefits of a Kindle.
Oh, mazel tov, that's great.
So we have borrowed one from the library because you can do that, and libraries are great with that. And I've got to tell you, she's very anxious to use it. And I said, I'll be happy to, hook it up. We just got this. I'll hook it up to the Wi-Fi, and we'll download some books. And who is the one challenged? I can't get it connected to my Wi-Fi. So I am going to have to bring it to the library and have them give me a little tutorial. It will not seem to connect.
Well, get back to me on that, because I have a Kindle, and it didn't work well for me. So
okay.
But
well, she's, it was kind of like no, I like my books. I said, you can have the books, but let's just try this.
I think Kindles are great. I think they're great.
A lot of people that use them. And the best thing, I think, is my brother has sold me on, I think what probably sold her, is oftentimes the larger print books at the library, it takes a little bit longer
It does.
to get them, whereas if you get the book on the Kindle, you can change the font
You can
size.
change the font. And my dear friend who I recently lost, Rita Shackney, who was, by the way, wonderful in gerontology, she swore by the Kindle, and she couldn't believe that I was still doing a book, and she was a crackerjack at it.
Yeah.
And would just, rip through books. I mean, she was just great.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
It's amazing
it
how
is.
much you can store on it. So when I turned it on for the first time the other day and saw what was on it, I was amazed.
It's a great way to go.
I don't know that I'm going to give up my books, but I do know that I think this is a great option to be able to have something like that and take
Absolutely.
take it with you.
Good for her.
So we'll see how that goes. I'll report back to you on that. What do you think as, your first, we're approaching fairly quickly your first 90 days. What was it like for you to, to step in and you hit the ground running? Were you assessing? It sounds like you've really gotten yourself right into, some of the meal programs and right into some of the other things to see what is really happening.
I'm not going to say hit the ground running, because so much has changed, and in county work there is a tremendous amount of paperwork in all of those programs and the contracts. I mean, it was easy for me to call up and say to Senior Services of Albany, hey, I've got a senior who needs a home delivered meal, and go directly. That was a matter of picking up the phone. Now things are a little bit different.
Right.
And, and I have to, assess all of that. And so all of that is new to me. And so I'm still wading through all of that. And I got, fortunately, a great staff. And they come in and they explain something to me, and I say, you're going to have to explain this again. And they're very good about saying, okay, we know, and having to explain it again, so that, it's I haven't been there really just 2 months, and it's a matter of really learning the flow. How this connects to this. It's not just a direct, program thing. So,
I think you're coming into it probably with, I started out introducing the show as, aging in place, and when you're talking about Newark and talking about seniors and all the things we're talking about, that really is is a focus, isn't it?
It is a focus. I mean, because seniors want to. I mean, it's a buzzword, a buzzword's age in place, but the fact is that we all want to do that.
We want to stay in our
Does that
homes,
mean, yes, does that mean everybody should stay in their home? No. You might get to a point where you say, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to mow the lawn. I don't want to shovel the sidewalk. And then independent living might be what you're interested in. Or you may have become fragile and you maybe need, assisted living at this point. Not ready for nursing home, but you need assisted living. We need to make, I think, probably our bond stronger with discharge planners at the hospitals, so that we know where folks are going and, where they are. I think age-friendly Albany County, as done by the county exec, is, I think it's going to be a great model for people. We have good people heading that up.
We have about a minute, and I want to touch on this. This time has gone so quickly.
Sure.
When we're talking about staying in our homes, no matter what capacity, there are so many companies now, agencies, organizations out there that offer companions to come into the home, non-medical. Your thoughts or caveats or words to folks who are thinking about bringing someone in like that. What kind of homework do they need to do?
They need to do very good homework, and a lot of it. Because you just don't want to let anybody into your house. And
we're talking for the day or a couple of days.
Yeah. I mean, word of mouth is always the best way to get someone. If you're going to be interviewing agency people, you want to. I'm sure they vetted them. You want to do the same, because you're bringing someone into your home. And it's always a concern. and you want to be able to do that. I mean, there's lots of things out there that we're addressing, which has to do with scams and, not really having the senior at heart. And we want to make sure that we stay on top of that, and we are.
That's very, very important. Deb, I'm going to have you back again very soon because there's so much more.
Thank you
we could be
very
talking
much.
about.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. Deborah Tano, the Albany County Commissioner for the Department for Aging. If you want more information, certainly go to albanycounty.com. On the top, there is a tab for departments, and click on Aging. You can find out more about any of our programs and services. I'm Mary Rozak, Director of Communications for Albany County. This has been Albany County News. We'll see you again soon.